and we are basically discussing skills for today's workplace. And I thought it was quite interesting. Okay, so the group is currently on the group. The link is on the group. John decided to send it 3 times. I don't know. Oh, there are 3 different links. Okay. So these are links for people to join in the service. There's the Instagram link, there's the Facebook, Twitter, and I was going to say LinkedIn by instinct. Okay, so just copy the links and put up on our status. Let's do that. Let's be real quick. I can see Mentor. Can you imagine? I just got there and I already saw John and Mentor Ejiro. Emmanuel, I see you. In fact, this is almost like my own personal. I can see who has done it and who has not done it. All right. So, because we have to be very time cautious, we're discussing skills for today's workplace today. And like I said, I thought it's a very interesting topic to address, because today's workplace and the dynamics actually is not what we thought it would be, when we were in school actually trying to learn and all that. The funny thing is so recently I kind of ran a poll for my organization, and basically we're asking to see what you studied, versus what you currently do. And it was a very, very interesting, the findings were very interesting. You would see people who went to school to study things like, sorry, I just remembered something Victor said when he was, teaching, how he went to school to study economics and someone told him to go and learn Babi when he was done. So interestingly, you see people who went to school to study things like economics, or funny thing, even medical courses, right? Somebody went to school to study pharmacy, and the person today is a digital marketer, and I was wondering how did you fall or did you stumble? There's no correlation, nothing at all. And so there's kind of like the narrative that let me not start speaking to what the panel is going to say. Okay, so we're going to be exhaustively exploring all these sectors and segments, right? And so even when you've now finally have skills, and so you have technical skills, you bring them into the workplace, there's also the place of soft skills, to keep you in that workplace and to get you to grow. And so we would be exploring all these options this morning. Real quick, are we done posting the links? Okay, that was a chorus answer, but I'll believe us, we're in church. So real quick, this morning, joining me up on stage here would be, when I call a name, right, you jam your hands together and give them a hype welcome, because tomorrow it could be you, and it's not easy to be up here, okay? So real quick, I'll be having, who should I invite first? Joining me up stage, jam your hands together for the delectable Elizabeth. So I'm going to be calling those of us that it's going to look like we call HYPP first, so that we'll complete. They will not add others. Okay, so Elizabeth is going to be followed real quick by one very powerful tech bro. Is very deep. Join us, jam your hands together for Fred this morning. Mr. Fred. Oh, Mr. Alfred the Fogby. I was about to say Mr. Alfred the Fogby. All right. Okay, so I'm actually a big gang. We have complete. So somebody's looking at me somehow. All right. So that was in no particular order. Forget what I just said. Join me as I welcome table shaker, table breaker, Chelsea, Gen Z Chelsea. You can see she's always going to be different, okay? And we have a final member that is supposed to be on this panel, but this is Lagos and things happen. All right, the person is currently experiencing things, the things that happen. So real quick, we have John. Do we have microphones? Okay, so I'm going to be passing across my mic, and you would be in 30 seconds, you tell us your name again, right? What you do and what you studied. So tell us what you studied in school and what you currently do. All right, so you can start.
All right, praise God.
Hallelujah.
Okay, my name is Alfred Ifobe. What I currently do is I studied computer science. Okay, what I do is technology consulting.
Okay, Elizabeth.
Okay, good morning, church. My name is Elizabeth. I studied science laboratory technology and I'm currently a banker.
Okay, so we're beginning to see something. So he's currently drawing. There's one, right? Fred actually looks like he's still inside what he studied, right? Elizabeth, don't carry us go where we don't know. Okay, Chelsea.
Hi, I'm Chelsea. I studied chemistry and I'm currently a TV producer and director.
Okay, so you can see what we're talking about, right?
Okay, so for me, from the onset, I never wanted to study chemistry. I didn't even know how I got there, but I shall got there. So from when I was in secondary, when I was in primary school, I've always wanted to be a nurse because there was this particular nurse that likes to give injection. I didn't like her. So I wanted to be a nurse so that she can give birth and I can give her children injection. That was when I was in primary school. Then fast forward to when I was in secondary school, I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. Then fast forward, I don't know, something happened. I saw a movie one day and the movie got me thinking what was going on behind the mind of the producer. So I saw the movie, then my dad walked in. I'm like, Dad, I don't want to do neurosurgery. I want to be a producer. And my dad was like, it's not in my house, Sha. You go and do it in another place. And I'm like, that's what I want to do. Then my dad was paying my school fees, obviously, yes. And I did sciences all through to my SS3. When I got to SS1, funny enough, my dad was not around. I was in art class. Then I come home every day and he's like, what did you do today? I'm like, chemistry. I was always arming on chemistry. I didn't know why, because I sort of knew chemistry, so it was easy for me. So I was always arming on chemistry. So, is it only chemistry you guys used to do every time? I said, he's a chemistry teacher that used to come. Then he came to my school one day, he just appeared and they're like, Chelsea, science class. The teacher was like, no, Chelsea's not in science class. She's in art. And I was like, what was art? And then my dad came. Then I was already in SS2. Funny enough, I had to repeat to science class in SS1. I did it and I just did it. I'm a very brilliant person. Anything you bring to the table, I'll sort it. So I did my chemistry. I did my sciences and I finished and I did chemistry in the university. I did chemistry because that was what they gave me. What I put in for was medicine. But as Uniben will have their way, they gave me chemistry. And I did it and I came out to the 2-1. Everybody was impressed. I wasn't. I don't even know where my certificate is right now. Then I started gathering ideas. All the times I was in school, I wasn't focusing on school. I think I went to class like 5-6 times. I can't remember. And I did 5 years. And other times I go to linguistic classes. I go for other classes. I do night class with theater art students. And I virtually knew everything. It got to a point when I was in school. People from the art class, they come to me and they're like, Chelsea, Alpha, let's sort this thing together. I teach them their work and all of that. And now, for me, I feel like anything you want to do in life aligns with your nature. So the kind of person I am, I can't function as a chemist. I am not quiet. If you come to my lab and you are telling me too much chemicals, I cannot assimilate it. So for me, producing, and I can be very aggressive, and it is one quality of a good producer. Aggressiveness gets you what you want, actually. So, and I can be very aggressive when I want to be. Fast forward till I was done, I didn't look for any job. I was working in a supermarket, I was doing good. And everybody was like, chemistry 2-1, Unilever. Unilever opportunity came. There's this other Nestle opportunity came. I didn't take it because that's not what I wanted to do for myself. Then I was reading books, gathering materials and all of that. Then I got MBA. MBA is National Broadcast Academy. And I wanted to do it, but I wanted to do it in 2018. I was working, there was no funds. Fast forward, I did it somehow. and I was good. I did presentation actually, and the HOD told me one time, Chelsea, why not look into producing and directing? And I'm like, no, I want to be in front of the camera. I want to talk. I want everybody to see me and all of that. And I was like, that's not who you are, because you are a crowd controller. Yes, actually, that is it. So, and fast forward. So basically, for me, it was just gathering skills and knowing what you want to do. Actually, that actually helped me to where I am today.
Okay, that's so I hear that whilst she actually went to school and actually studied chemistry, she already knew somewhat that she didn't want this, and she was already like taking ninth classes with art students because that was what she actually like really wanted. So it appears that Chelsea from a very early stage, she already knew that she was just going to school to go and collect pali and go and give her parents. Okay, before I move on to the others in the panel, so that this panel will be complete, Lagos has stopped happening to our final panelists. So I'll be welcoming off stage none other than Mr. Godstime Eromosele. All right. Welcome. Good morning. So real quick, take the microphone. We want you to tell us your name, what you studied in school, and what you currently do.
Okay, praise God.
Hallelujah.
My name is Godstime Romosele.
Right, you can move your chair so
Yes. I studied microbiology in Ambrosali University, Ekpoma, and I'm currently a territory sales manager. Yeah, so actually, I just like Chelsea said, I applied to study medicine, but I was finally offered microbiology. Yes, so so it was actually like what I would tell myself, microbiology is the bedrock of medicine. Whether you like it or not, without microbiology, there is no medicine. So that was actually what gave me that the drive to keep going. After graduation, I tried to work in the lab. I had 1 year experience, which is my NYC. So they were not, because of the marginalization. Scientists generally will not allow you to practice because you are not licensed as a microbiology. You can only work as a technician, and being a technician, I mean lab technician. So being a technician, you are only going to be restricted. So I had to actually leave my comfort zone and went into sales. So my first sales job was in HMO. Interestingly, I struggled because it was a new field entirely, and I never actually thought I was going to work in the sales industry. So I say that to say this because sometimes we are so focused on what we have studied, and at the end of the day we miss a lot. So you have one thing that it's the opportunity provided me was I was an introvert. I'm still an introvert. But what opportunity gave me was I had opportunity to speak up. I was able to relate with people more, and then I got trained. And this is my 10th year in the sales industry, and I am happy to say that I have grown from a sales person, from a medical sales representative, and now I'm a territory sales manager. So it has been from one growth to another.
Okay, interesting. Thank you very much. And before I come to this angle, some things that he already said that I think you need to note is, so whilst he didn't he actually tried. Chelsea did not try, but he tried to still stay in line with what he went to school to read. However, somehow he found himself in sales. Something he said he got trained. A lot of us missed out on that. And so right now, I was going to say you're a territorial. He's a territory something lead, right? Okay, and you know what a territory means. It's not one corner in one side, right? So he supervises like regions, right? He did not fly. So he did not just start up in sales. I was going to say a sales boy, as a salesman, or salesperson, and then suddenly, just because of time, just because he spent 10 years, no. He had to get trained and, grow along that journey. Elizabeth, I'm going to real quick ask you something that I think I already know the answer to. But, so you actually, you went to school to study what? Science laboratory. I'm surrounded by scientists. So she went to school to study science laboratory, and today she's working in Access Bank. So I want to ask, how did that happen? What happened?
Okay, I'll say a month to when I started working, I didn't see myself working in a bank.
Okay.
So what happened was, I wanted to study medicine too, actually, but the school I wanted, they did not give me, and I didn't want to do any other course there, so I stayed back. But then on the second thought, I was like, I don't want to write JAM twice, so I just had to opt in for the nearest option. No doubt I was good in my class, really. But then after a while, I figured that I don't really fit in. Aside from the fact that I understood what I was being taught, I don't really fit in that space. I found myself always talking. I talk a lot. I can't talk. I love to talk. I love to play. And I'm like, science lab technician. Chemical will pour my body one day. Because I can be very restless, really. But I just found out that I like to talk. I found out that I have a way of, even the most difficult person, when I come across people like that, I find a way of bringing them to come around. So it just started occurring to me that this thing I'm doing, they carry me go where I don't know, because so really, when the offer came, and one thing about me is I don't like to sit idle. So I finished school in October. I started working December. I stayed at home for just 1 month. I was like, anything that comes, I want to go and do it, because I don't like to stay idle. So the offer came. I did not find work. I found a job as a lab technician, like the first job I saw. But they said they'll be paying me one small money like that. After all the money that I spent in the school, I did project care. So I said I was not going to do it. Then the other offer came, and it just was like, would I want to work in a bank? I said yes now. Really, I thought it was going to end there. I didn't know until I got a call, and they were like, did you check your mail? You ought to have resumed on the 1st. And that was on the 8th. That's how I went to go and check. They've sent me offer letter. I was just supposed to sign and send it back. I was supposed to have resumed since 1st day of December. I resumed immediately, like the following day. Then when I got there, my branch manager, she asked me what I did, and then we got talking. My first branch manager studied chemical science. Immediately she told me she studied chemical science. Like, after all, I'm not the first person. I can't do this thing. So she was like, what department would I want to be? I said, I don't know yet. But I was sure I didn't want to be in tailoring. I don't like to count money. They put me in front desk, customer service. I was there I was in e-channels first of all. I was there for just 3 days. Then she said she noticed that I know how to talk to customers so she moved me to customer service. And customer service, you will lie. You will lie. As in lie, you are going to lie. You know that they will not reverse this person's money in the next 3 days. Just tell them, in 3 days, if you don't see it, come back. You will lie. So really, I was there for a month. Then something happened. Some staff left. Then we had to do some moving. I went back to e-channels. I was in e-channels for just 3 days, and then all of a sudden, I had to go back. I didn't really catch anything. My first 3 days, that's where I was. I felt like it was going to be hard for me because, bro, I'm not a computer person. I don't understand anything in that place. But then I just found out that really Learning is very important. I had to gather materials. I started gathering materials because, bro, they cannot send me home. This money is a bit plenty. So I sourced out for materials. And okay, so one thing was, after a month, working after a month, I got a mail. I was supposed to take a training. I just started work on a new product that I didn't know anything about. Before, I don't know anything about banking, really. But then I got the mail from my zonal head. We're supposed to have a regional MSR and I'm supposed to be taking a training. Like, how this man takes Abi me. Abi, you just see my name. You just say that, wait, let me call this girl. I didn't know. He sent that mail. I didn't know anything. I didn't even understand the topic. Ko ye me. So I had to just reach out to that team. They sent me materials. I went through them. We went for the training. I had a 3 hours training, and really after the training, I was like, did I really do this thing? So it just occurred to me that really there's nothing you want to do that you cannot do if you are open to learning. It's that easy. I learned. Aside from the fact that I can talk to people, I can be very cranky. The moment you start asking me plenty questions, mama call me. I don't like answering questions. But then I found myself answering questions. One person will just come ask like 10 questions. They will ask you the same question in different dimensions. And I figured that I had to just teach myself, learn from other people how to do this thing. And really, it's been blissful, really.
Okay, I mean, very interesting story that Elizabeth had there. So what I wanted to bring out is the fact that, so whilst of course Chelsea already knew that this is what she wanted to do, Elizabeth was able to tell us that she just found herself in banking because that was what was available to her at that point. I mean, she never saw herself as a banker, but she needed money. Okay, so anything that she saw, she was going to, that fits in her financial goals for that period, she was going to go for it. Before I go to Fred, who is like the only person on this panel who actually went to school, studied, yes, what I ordered, and he got what he ordered, right? As a matter of fact, it's one of the few tech bros I know that actually went to school to be a tech bro. Most of the tech bros I know, what they did, I mean, they just found themselves in tech. They found themselves taking. All right. One thing that is very important to note from the story of these 3 people that are here is that, so some things I want to bring out. Sometimes it is okay to not necessarily specifically know what the future holds, right? And it's okay to be very real to yourself that I don't know. I really don't. I'm not sure. I'm not certain. However, what should you do at that point? That is a question I need you guys to begin to think about, because I'm going to ask you. What should you do in between, when you're in between that period where, I mean, you are not sure. You're not sure. So, I mean, for someone like you, Chelsea, you did know, or you did have an idea. You just maybe didn't know how you were going to manage your relationship with your dad and whatnot. However, when you are in those kind of situations, right, what do you do that begins to prepare you, for, because many times when what you are supposed to do comes, you don't have the time to just begin to start all over, to start learning, and there are some things you need to have already known. So what do you do in that period? And then I'll go back to my tech bro, and he's now going to, I mean, it almost feels like I want to ask you a question that, so what made you decide to stay in your tech line? I think that's the question, really.
Okay, praise God.
Hallelujah.
So I'll start like this. Like you said, a lot of tech bros really didn't plan to go into tech, but somehow they found themselves in tech. And forgive me if I say this, most times they found themselves in tech and they are half big tech bros. I'm sorry to say. But it's something I say to a lot of them. But here's the thing, how did I end up in tech and all of that? Was because I was certain that was what I wanted to do. It was very obvious that was what I wanted to do. As in, my mind was just, this is what I want to do. And I think it started very early. Maybe in my primary school, I had these bros that I used to look up to, and he studied computer engineering. And in my head, the only thing I was seeing was computer engineering. But it's not just about him, it was about my personality as well. You get, so research, engineering, I can probe to find anything if I want to. So all of that puts together. And from a very young age, my mom and parents were always complaining that, remember way back then when there are video players. Just one day you hear that the cassette is stuck with all these what's it called? Is it the rope or those tape and all of that? I just thought, I look at it. The next thing I'm opening it, my dad will come and will be like, somebody has touched this thing. It's no other person. It's Fred. There's nothing I practically didn't damage in the house. So, and while you're at it, please don't damage anything in the house. Please. But to a very large extent, videos, TVs, anything, I was just opening everything. I wanted to understand how anything works. That's just the basic thing I wanted to understand. And it came at a cost. I was home for 6 years before I gained admission. So don't think in the time I was waiting, I got industrial maths. I said, lie, I'm not doing this. This goes to the people that said, that's not what I wanted. That's what they gave me. No, they didn't give you. You were offered. You accepted. You paid acceptance fee. You were offered. You were offered. You paid an acceptance fee to take the offer. So the school didn't give you. Again, so I was offered industrial mathematics. I said, no, this is not what I wanted. I was offered physics. This is not what I wanted. Computer engineering. Now, what was I doing in between these 6 years? Computer Village was just coming up then. So I went to Computer Village. So I was now learning things under Computer Village. So most of this coupling of systems, hardware, and all of that, I learned that. This was around 2005 anyway. Few years later, GSM Village came in. It's still me again and all of that, learning how software works and all of these things. Until finally I got, so I think it was in 2009 that I said, okay, I understand hardware and all of that now. So let me not really focus on engineering now. Let me try and shift to science, which is the software part. So that was the first time I said, okay, I'm no longer going to apply for computer engineering. I'm going to apply to computer science. Again, in 2009, I had to do my research. Which schools, university were the best in computer science, Nigerian-wise? It was FUTMINA and there was FUTO. So I had to choose FUTMINA and FUTO. So I traveled to Mina to go and write post-jam and everything, just because I wanted computer science. Well, eventually I didn't get it. I had to come back again and I was researching. 2010, it now became, I researched which school is coming up. Lagos State University, LASU. Computer science. I don't care about any other course. So I now applied for LASU. Eventually I landed there and I got computer science. I got into school and I was just chasing the real thing I came for, not what the lecturers were teaching. When a lecturer comes and he teaches, I look at what he's teaching. I see it, I go get textbooks and I'm looking for how this thing translates to the real world. I wasn't seeing myself within the space of just getting the certificate. I wanted to actually practice. So because I needed to practice, I had to put in the work. So most of the times, I was always I looked out for the best in the department, in 400 level. I was in 200 level, I was already rolling with the guy, and I was asking him for help and everything. I think it was at 200 level, I started writing my first softwares and all of that. Fast forward till, by the time I got out, I already had a clear picture of what I wanted. Because I already knew that this is what I wanted and how I wanted it. But you know, with the thing with Nigeria and getting jobs now, somehow Popsy got me a job. I was there for 10 months. Be like. Yeah. So the role was logistics supervisor. Logistics supervisor. And how and why he got me that role was with working with experts. And they said the use of software to perform that. I like to take a pause here. So the reason I got that role was not because I studied statistics or anything. It was because softwares were needed to perform the role, because it was a big function. Now, which is another thing. A lot of people want to come into tech and what have you. But while you are studying whatever you study, tech is actually not the thing. Tech is not the thing. Tech is just a means to achieve the thing. So if you study statistics, you studied accounting, you studied economics, whatever it is you study, try and find whatever tech you can leverage on to achieve the objectives. So this is why you see people that are in tech and maybe they are in the fintech space. Tech is just targeted towards financials
that you need answers to. So whilst I'm going to call maybe just one or two persons to answer the question that I initially asked, please begin to gather your questions. All right. So GT, let the microphone back. So I'm going to be asking a very important question, right? So, for example, right, I went to school, I studied accounting. For someone like me, I already knew I was not going to use it. Right. And for me, it wasn't because I wasn't passing. Like Elizabeth said, it was because I knew that this was not my kind of person. I would be a very terrible accountant. Brilliant but terrible. You know, because I'm very calm, but I'm not calm. I'm kind of very confusing, actually. It depends. I can be very put together, but not put together, and it just looked very boring to me. That's the honest truth. I just felt like this job, this line. I saw myself next 20 years as an accountant. I was like, man, this life is going to be very, very, very boring. I mean, I didn't have the passion. I'm not speaking against those who. Some people have passion. Oh. When you have passion, it distincts you. I mean, this is an example here. There are many tech bros, but you can see that from a very early point, he's actually passionate about what he does. It is what he always wanted to do, and he's doing it. And that is always going to stand him out from the half-baked, that he said, because he's actually passionate about it. So he's going to continue to make research and all that. Now, my question is, at the point where I'm not going to say how I stumbled into what I currently do, because that's what I believe. I stumbled right into it, and of course there were things that I already kind of had, but still I didn't know what to do with it. So somehow I shall find myself in that line. What would you say, to fast track, because you really do not have to stumble? I mean, scripture says that we are, as many as are led by the Spirit of God, are the sons of God. So what is that thing you would give to us young persons that would help us to, fast track? You don't have to, who said you have to go like this, and like this, and like this before you get to, or you start moving up on a career trajectory? What would be your advice? Looking backwards now, what would you give to a young person out there?
Okay, praise God again. So let me quickly add this to what I said earlier, and then I will answer the question. So I never left microbiology. For a lot of people that know me, I have been doing a lot of a side hustle, which is actually it actually was a major pay to me. The job was just I would say the sales was a side hustle at the end of the day, because the side hustle was paying me more than what my current job is paying me. So I've been selling medical equipment and consumables. So that's since 2017. Even with that space, I have also been doing a little research on consumables, the different type of consumables, because I've actually made up my mind when I studied microbiology. So I said I will go into research. I want to go into research. I want to become a lecturer, just do research, and of course solve problem, try as much as I can to bring solution to the current health issues. So the question again is how we can fast track so that you don't have to. Right now, I don't really think there is a shortcut to success. There is no shortcut. You have to pass through the process. Currently I am going back to microbiology. I'll be doing my MSc in medical bioscience, which is microbiology. Look, I left school 2009. That's how many years now? 13 years study gap. So, and I'm going back to my passion. So what did I do? I have gathered experience. I have gathered funds to do what I want to do. And I've also be able to have a clear focus on where I am going. Right. So just to quickly add to that, you need to stay true to your passion. My passion has always been, like as after microbiology, I wanted to be a researcher. I am still going to be a researcher. Thank you.
All right, Pastor Uche has a question or something to add to that. Can we pass? Okay, John.
This is some service. I don't know how I feel about this service, honestly. But I can relate. I can relate with all the stories that are here. that have been told here, I can especially relate with Chelsea's story. Okay, so my first degree, I read diplomacy and public administration. I am not going to say I was given so that Fred will not break my head. So what did I set out to read? Understanding myself. From when I was in primary 6, I had told my parents I was going to be a journalist. And then I, of course, as my mind developed further and I knew the difference between a lot of things, I knew I was supposed to do mass communication, you know, but when the jam begin to jam you, anyone they give you, you collect. Which I think is not right anyway, but that may be a story for another time. So, jam, bass, goes, and at one time, without having to have applied, the year I got that, I think I had put in for Mass Communication, University of Nsukka, first choice, and we had the second choice, University of Lagos. And then from nowhere, catchment, these and all those catchment plenty things, I was hearing that I was offered diplomacy and public administration. Is he in a university? They said yes. So I just went along, and then I did that, and I came back. But you see, the story of my life, I didn't do mass communication, but I have always found myself in spaces where, because it is my natural wiring, you know, I have worked jobs that got me out to do what had always been inside of me, some sort, you know, and that's what I think I hear from all of these guys. We still have the side of Nigeria happening to a lot of people, but like Dio, Mentor Dio, I'm so used to calling him Dio, I don't know. Because the other guys but Mentor Dio, we're out here. Like Mentor Dio did say, it's okay not to know totally. It's okay just not to know totally how that it is going to end, you know. But it is always good to be in the right frame of mind and to be enmeshed, you know, knowing that God orchestrates your path. If you are that open, sometimes if you flip, you will return to that path. So Joseph had a dream from the get-go. Do you understand? So it's not everybody who's going to start from point 1 and go to point 2 almost immediately. For some persons, if you understand yourself, for some persons, you are going to have to go through bends and corners, ups and downs, but ultimately, if your life has been rested and vested in the hands of God, He will recurse you, or He will add up all of those things, and then it will make sense. And then there is something that I have heard people say here. So when you are even traveling on that journey, and sometimes you come by opportunities to gather skills that are, you know, we just look at certain opportunities, because the things that stood Joseph out eventually were skills that he honed, you know. He honed those skills while in the lowest place of his life. So he honed those skills, and opportunities presented himself, and he used one of those skills, and then boom, he went ahead. So once you are on that journey trying to figure out whether it is economics, or it is biophysics, or bioscience, or chemistry, and TV presentation and all that, every single opportunity you get at doing something, you know, or learning, yes, or getting to learn whilst you are at it, even though you think in your mind that it is a stop, I think you should jump on that opportunity and get that thing done, because it will speak for you tomorrow. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Okay, round of applause. Thank you so much. Pastor Oche kind of like did a roundup. I wish you had held on. And then Chelsea, as of course to be expected, Chelsea wants to speak to shortcuts. She still believes they are shortcuts. We have Chelsea, last time they told me we had 2 minutes. I'm sure the 2 minutes are over. So please, do we have questions? Let me do a quick survey. If you have a question, can you wave your hand? You have any questions? No questions. Someone said you should not be shy. Is there a question? There are no questions. Okay, I wasn't even going to take it here. I wanted to say we'll take the questions on our online space. But question, Chelsea, just quickly, real quick, speak your mind.
Assuming they don't allow me to say this thing, I go vex. I said, Kanikpe, they don't allow me to say this thing, I will be upset. So what I wanted to say, according to what this our daddy already said, you see all these millennial and baby bloomer people, they like stress. Because why I go the long, see, after I did my MBA, I have 2 degrees. I have digital marketing and I have emotional intelligence. And I did those 2 in the space of 6 months. So I feel like, first thing first, there's something my company believe in. They believe in learning on the job. So you don't have to. Long suffering is for people in the Bible. Jesus already died for me. He has suffered the long suffering. I cannot come and suffer in this era. Why I go suffer? Why will I suffer? So for me, I feel like learning on the job it's the best thing you can do. Because I remember the first time I was asked to write a script in my office, a TV program, not even a script. What I did, what is Google there for? Google is there to help our life. I went there, copy and paste, Nimoshe. The second time I didn't do copy and paste, I write it for my head. So I just feel for we, you understand, Prince, Olamide, and someone, you get it. Oh, excuse, you are part of long suffering people. So for us, it is it. Because I know people that in my office, if they are counting one of the best, I'm not bragging, Olamide, you are there to testify it. I am one of the best in my office, and I had no idea what they were doing there. I just got there. Everything I learned on the job. Now my office cannot do a single thing without me in it. So that is it. It's short form. You will go online course, future learn, you have learned it, you have do it. Simple.
Okay, so I think to round off, Mentor wants to say something, blood of God. See, let me just say something. So in the end, you were not countering what he said actually. What I hear from what you said is what Pastor Uche said, right? You took learnings, right? So even if now, remember for you actually knew that this is what you wanted to do, presenting, right? Right. So you started doing things. You took courses. You went to Google and whatever. You did emotional intelligence, as you mentioned. Everybody needs emotional intelligence. You did digital marketing. Let me not say everybody needs it. Let's just leave that one in one corner. All right. But all these things that it gets to a point in life that you realize that all the things you've learned, whether it came by way of a certification or it was just a soft skill that you learned while doing something else, they all tie together and they become relevant to get you maybe what you actually really, really wanted all along. They'll have a way of tying together. So I mean, that's what I hear you say. Yeah, you don't have to stay long. The problem is not even staying, it's what are you doing while you are staying. I think that's the more important question. Please, they are saying something else here. So what do you do while you wait? Mentor Ejiro, final thoughts.
Okay, so just like I agree with what Mentor Dio had said, which I wanted to correct. The fact is, fine, Chelsea feels that all she did was shortcut, but it took discipline. Guy, online course, are you joking? Did she sleep? Ask her, did you sleep when you did the online course? Yeah, it's not a shortcut, it's discipline. She needed the skills to upgrade. We're talking of what do you need to do to get the door open. You can't tell me that, oh, I was offered chemistry, then have the right say that, nah, I don't want to be a graduate. Guy, you will see that nobody will. You just need the opportunity and you must follow through to the end. Right. And another thing she mentioned, learning on the job, those are things you do basically. If you get a new job, most companies will assign you to a mentor. Victor mentioned there are people he mentors in his office, which are static things that should be done. But in as much as we want to sound Gen Z and all, let's not discard these things because they are facts. It's just that over time life has redefined them to make it look sweeter. But truth is,
okay, Pastor Uche is my pastor, is not me, so don't look at me, Monisola. But will you obey your pastor? Nope. It's not your service, sir.
Okay, so I just wanted to agree further with you and corroborate what Mentor Ejiro has said. It's easier for me to call her Mentor Ejiro than call you Mentor Dio. Okay. So, in the recent past, 2, 3, 4 months, I have sat in 4 international interviews for roles outside of this country, and the basis of assessment are things I am doing in church, running and managing people. You know, it's not a function of anything I am doing in my secular space. And so I am weaving in running the HYPP system. It's not formal. I didn't pick it anyway. I just came to serve in church. Do you understand? You know, so I came to serve in church, and I am weaving in everything in terms like it is a project. So I still stand to say that whilst you are waiting, traveling a journey, it is not that place where you are. There is something to pick there. There is a skill in that small, obscure, not so appealing function that you have. So pick it. And so when I sit down and put everything together and tell them I am leading this set of young people, ABC, X, Y, Z, Oyibo people are listening to me, you know, and all of those things. So wherever it is that you are working, you read computer science, and you are working in a barbing salon. There is something there that you are to pick up that you need on your journey tomorrow, even if you're going back to doing tech, like this man said. That's all I am saying.
Yeah. So we agree, and I stand to say that we are done with this panel session. Please give my panelists a round of applause. They've been amazing.